Going live. All right, everybody, we are live, and this evening we've got some fun stuff to talk about. First and foremost, we want to mention the beginning things, Bird Dog Bingo. If you are a patron, Kat's throwing a link in here right now. I'm going to go ahead and pin that to the top so that everybody's got it. If you want to play Bird Dog Bingo, cards are available for patrons, patreon.com/Standing Stone Kennels. You can become a patron for as little as $5 a month. We do want to say thank you, speaking of patrons, thank you to the patrons, the largest supporter of everything that we do here at Standing Stone. The first comment, woo-woo, throw some check-ins in there as we're rolling through this. But
early, wow, I know, no technical difficulties.
We wanted to actually check on what is technically a technical difficulty, and I want to know, can you hear us well, and how loud do you have to have your volume? Because someone brought it to our attention that listening to our video, they have to have their volume turned all the way up.
And we still sound fairly quiet.
Quietish.
So.
Hear us, but it's quietish. Let me know what you're thinking. I need to make adjustments, but I'm not on the other end to test it as well as I should be able to.
Because he sounds pretty loud in my ears.
Yeah, because we can adjust this stuff here.
But
really
that doesn't
easy.
necessarily adjust it there.
Is this you here? Does that sound quieter for your ears?
Say something.
I'm sorry. I'm talking. Does that sound quieter? No, that's the same. Okay, how about? Oh, I was twisting the wrong one. How about that? Is that better for your ears?
Yeah.
Is that quieter? Is that too quiet? Yep.
And I can't hear myself at all then.
You can't hear yourself at all?
When you did that.
Well, I turned it back up to normal. This
that's
good?
Perfect. That's perfect.
So I turned it down a little from where it was at. That's just your headphone volume. It doesn't affect for anybody else. But volume is fine. So, Miss Kelly, while you're listening, so everybody can hear perfect, but is your volume have to be like all the way up on your phone or all the way up? No, iPhone's about 50%. Volume is fine.
Okay, cool.
I don't know. Somebody told us that
maybe
their volume
they were
was
having
off.
technical difficulties. So
okay, so I think that no. I see this. When I set this up, this has this maxed here, and I think it was turned down. Okay, so now I bet you all can't hear me as well. Go ahead. I'll give it there's like a couple second delay here, but let me know how that comes through. I bet it's quieter. This sounds good.
Volume is half.
There it is. I don't want to blow your eardrums out.
So don't turn your volume up if you thought we were at about half volume then, because we just put it back up. But not as well. Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. So thanks for the feedback.
That was the issue. I was on another setting, and I recognized that the thing was cut down. So, all that being said, thank you. Undo whatever you just did.
Woo-woo. Did it. Yep. Undone.
Perfect. So we want to say thank you so much to everyone that is a patron. For those of you that don't know, Patreon is where we help you train your dogs, as well as you get the opportunity to support everything we do. The money that we make on Patreon goes right back into everything that we do, whether that's
creating
equipment,
the content.
Paying for video editing, paying for, it's about all it covers right now is video editing and videography, which is very, very, very important. And then the equipment that we use to be able to do these things. So all of that being said, if you would like to be a patron, patreon.com/Standing Stone Kennels. And what you get is, if you're trying to train your dog, you can go anywhere from asking questions, simple things like, what dog food do you feed? Or
what nail trimmer should I get?
Exactly. Or can you watch this training session of mine? And then all the way up to, we do live video chats, and I actually am live with you in a training session, which is really, really helpful depending on where you're at in the process. So all of that being said, we would love to help you if you need it.
And that's where you can get your bingo card for tonight. And tonight, we have decided that we're going to give away a $50 gift card to our online store, standingstonesupply.com. So if you didn't know we have a store, you do now.
In honor of the month of December and
the holidays and giving.
Holidays coming.
Yep. Then you can put that towards whatever you think you really want to have, a bird launcher or e-collar or a check cord. I'm just trying to think of things. My brain is kind of fuzzy. Sorry.
Fuzzy prize. So $50 gift card, Standing Stone Supply. All the things that we have on our website are things that we use and recommend. So it is not just junk we're trying to sell you. It's all the stuff we use day in and day out. We're trying to add, change, adjust. If you have issues with something, let us know. We want to make changes, but I mean, this is tried and true and tested. Then we throw some of the merchandise, other things, and then if you want to get into pigeons, that's where you can access that as well.
Well, let's roll into check-ins because people were checking in when we were checking volume. So we have Piedmont, South Dakota, and Alberta, Canada. Whoop, whoop. Our first international check-in. Gotta love that. And, of course, Miss Kelly from New Jersey.
We need to start doing something like a bonus deal for the first check-in on the evening.
Oh, yeah.
You could do like, but this is available ahead of time, so we'll come up with something and we'll post it in the. But I'm guessing basically the first check-in once we go live, we'll do like a bonus, like.
It could act as a free space on their bingo card.
Ooh,
where
first check-in.
First check-in.
Miss Kelly knows all about this, so.
So on your bingo card, if you're like one shy of a bingo because we haven't done a thing that's on the bingo card yet, you can, and you were the first check-in.
It's just a freebie for you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. You can use it wherever you need it if you are close to a bingo.
I like it. So
we can apply that rule tonight for, was it Benjamin? For Benjamin, arm wrestling.
Benjamin
Corin
arm wrestling. That's cool. Okay. Free space on your bingo card. All right, roll through those. I'm screwing things up.
Scrolling and rolling. We've got Phoenix and Wisconsin. Hey, Melanie from Minnesota.
I saw some really
Colorado.
awesome updates from y'all and your poodle pointers pointing and hunting and road hunting, not road hunting.
Iowa checking in.
Mm-hmm.
More volume check-ins. Thank you guys for the feedback on that. Basiris, Ohio? Don't know how to say the first name.
Sorry to hear about those Buckeyes.
Wisconsin and
Who's a quitter? Somebody said we were quitters.
Low quitters. Where was that?
Go up a little bit. Quieter. I'm an idiot.
Ethan, dyslexic or something, and
what
also
does that say?
His eyes are terrible.
I've got an idea.
We got Maine and Lola, Kansas. Whoop whoop! First Kansas check-in in the house. Other than us, of course.
I mean, I know your eyes are way better than mine with your glasses on, but that doesn't hurt.
Ooh, where do we get the bingo card? We pinned the link, patreon.com/Standing Stone Kennels at the top of the chat here. And you just have to be a patron. You can join for as little as $5 a month, and that gets you access to the bingo card. You do have to be a patron at a higher level to ask for feedback, questions, support, things like that. Ooh, Chattanooga. At first I thought that was a song.
Yeah,
that was way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, though, not the Chattanooga. Maybe way down yonder on the Chattanooga. No, doesn't work. South Carolina, Omaha. Hey, Tony, we're gonna be seeing you pretty soon for a pup.
You bringing Omaha steaks with you?
Wisconsin, Chesapeake, Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, Pennsylvania. Oh no, goodbye.
What are you buying?
All those weirdo emoji things.
Oh, come on. They're just speaking and
spamming us. Northeast Ohio.
Speaking in spam.
Belmont, Ohio. Iowa Park, Texas. Rochester, Illinois. Wisconsin. Fargo, North Dakota. Highmore, South Dakota.
My question is, in Fargo, do you have a bag or a bag?
A bag. Boise, Idaho, Lakeland, Florida. Thank you guys for all your check-ins.
We love it.
Yes, we definitely love it. Northwest Wisconsin. We'll just keep them rolling. No.
That's good. That's really good.
So tonight we wanted to talk to you guys in lieu of the holiday spirits, which, Thanksgiving was just here. Hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. But we have lots of things coming up holiday-wise. There's a lot of, business and company holiday parties. There is lots of family get-togethers, friend get-togethers, with Christmas and New Year's coming up. And we thought, hey, this is probably something that gets overlooked. The holiday safety for your dogs as well as etiquette for your dogs. So we wanted to talk briefly about that, just share some insights, and then move into, of course, answering your guys' questions and any other little tidbits that we think up along the way as announcement-wise stuff. But one thing that I think gets overlooked is etiquette. So let's say your dog goes with you everywhere and you're traveling to family or friends or whatnot. It's really, I think, important and good manners to ask ahead of time, hey, is it okay if I bring my dog with? And if whoever you're visiting says, yeah, absolutely, that's fine, I would also ask for clarifications on what that means exactly to them, because some people aren't dog people, or their house really isn't pet friendly or pet proofed, just like children proofed sometimes. So say, okay, well, is it okay if they come in the house? Do I need to bring a crate for them? Kind of what are the expectations? Because, if they don't allow pets on the furniture or in the bedrooms, you need to respect that. It's their house, their rules. And even if, Floofly or Fluffy or whoever your dog is, Sparky, Jack, whatever, is allowed on the bed at your house and is never crated, this would be a good reason to, crate train your dog for situations like this, where you're traveling and they aren't necessarily allowed in the house or in the hotel or in the lodge where you're hunting. You just need to make sure that you're following the house rules and being respectful of those house rules, especially if the other house has small children or other dogs and things like that. So that is my 2 cents about etiquette.
What are you drinking?
What am I drinking? A gin and tonic.
And yes, Diesel, king of beers right here. Budweiser.
It was what was in the fridge.
Yeah, but I mean, it's my beer of choice.
It is, yeah. No.
Outside of a Dirty Blonde, I am a big fan of the Dirty Blondes.
And if you guys know where you can get a Dirty Blonde, put that in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely traveling with your pet. Talked about that.
I would say the big thing too is, and this is overlooked. We're mentioning it because we see it as dog people from, we gotta moderate this crap. Yeah, love you long time.
How do you get rid of that?
There's a thing
there
here.
It is.
I should add them as a moderator. That'd be funny.
Well, you can just remove them. I don't even think a timeout's necessary.
Oh, come on now. So we see that from
I
got distracted.
Our
for a
side.
second.
Yep. From both. So we actually typically crate our dogs even when we have company over. Just because when
It's out of respect to the people too. I mean,
exactly. When we have company over, they're not always dog people. I mean, we're dog people. You would think that every single person we associate with is a dog person, but that's not the case. So we typically kennel our dogs, crate them. Maybe we'll have one older dog on a dog bed, but usually not until we kind of gauge what the atmosphere is. Definitely, we usually wait until after dinner. So there's never any situations where, the dogs are, milling around and getting fed table scraps, because we don't allow our dogs to eat
That's
human food.
Thing. And so this falls into the etiquette aspect of
the other way.
The opposite side,
Yeah.
right? You're around other people's dogs. Just randomly giving their dogs things is not a good idea.
like under the dinner table being like, well, they were there. I thought they wanted a piece of whatever. Well, no, definitely asking first and making sure that it would either be okay or not okay, and then respecting those wishes. So like I said, we typically have our dogs crated during company times, whether that's the holidays or not, especially because dogs add an extra level of chaos. And when you have two little boys already running around, company over, there's already a fair amount of chaos, so we need to manage that so that everyone is safe and happy.
Absolutely. And then as far as the other aspect of it, like you mentioned, hunting lodge and stuff like that. Every lodge, every different place that I go and stay, dogs are not allowed, and it's just because there's so many variances in the number of people that will also be there, and pet allergies of random people that are staying there too is part of it. But we were up hunting. I was guiding one of the guys. It was a new guy to the group and everything else, didn't know any better, whatever. Just brought his dog right in. Hey, we're at hunting camp. And, as much as I would like to have a hunting camp like that, to be able to bring my dogs in and everything else, I don't own the property. It's not my rules, right? So it's just a matter of, but there was no question of, hey, can we have dogs in here? So that just falls in the category of be respectful. Mm-hmm. Just be respectful all the way around.
Yeah.
So.
And then from a safety standpoint, this is the other thing that I want to mention. When you have a lot of company and guests over and a lot of inning and outing of the doors, people bringing in food, gifts, things like that, that's a really good opportunity for your dog to escape the house in a potentially dangerous situation. We live in the country, so a little less traffic, but man, you wouldn't believe how fast UPS and FedEx drive up our driveway some days. Makes me very nervous. But if you're in, the neighborhood and you've got a lot of people going in and out and your dog slips out the door because everyone's distracted and there's a lot of activity and they get out on the busy road when there is a lot going on, that could be a really bad, tragic, dangerous situation. So again, crating them when that stuff is going on, or at least having a very solid place, training done and collar conditioned to place that you are actually supervising and watching happen so that doesn't ruin your holiday by having your dog get away, even if they don't get on the road and get hit or something, which would be awful. Just running away, getting scared, being out and so much activity going on, and they take off on you, and then you're spending your entire holiday looking for your dog. So keep that in mind as well when there's so much activity, opening, closing doors, things like that. And people just not necessarily knowing your dog's at the door, they're up, and they're like, oh, well, Sparky looked like he wanted out. I just let him out. Well, we don't just let Sparky out because he runs away. Things like that.
Did you say you're drinking a gin and tonic?
I did.
Okay, I'm sorry. There was a question on here.
Yep.
I'm just rolling through the information.
And then the last thing that I kind of want to hit on, which is just for your dog not to ingest something that they shouldn't. Like I said, there's lots of random food and special holiday foods, and not all of them are good for dogs. Chocolate, that's a big one, as well as there's a lot of other things, artificial sweeteners and candies and things like that.
That's the toughest, is artificial sweeteners are in everything, and there's quite a few that are popping up to be fairly toxic for dogs, and so being aware of that. This is kind of a surprising one, that alcohol is actually poisonous to dogs. Mm-hmm. It can cause dizziness, disorientation, sometimes vomiting, and
so basically your dog's drunk, but still it's not good for your dogs. They're not meant to process that, and no. I know you're making somewhat of a joke.
It was on a list I saw one time, and I thought it was funny. It was like the symptoms were
basically being drunk. Yeah. But lots of things that your dog can get into. You've got food on the counter. Counter surfing happens if your dog's not being supervised, and if the food is not something that your dog should eat, they could definitely get very sick. Or just the amount of rich food that they could be given as table scraps and things like that, we would want to avoid. I remember one year, and this wasn't a thing about like ingesting anything that made the dog sick, but one of the dogs opened a random Christmas present, decided to chew up and open a present, and chewed up one of the Christmas presents ahead of time, obviously. I think it was Sammy.
Yeah.
And it was those Klein snips that I had gotten you.
Yeah, and chewed the handles off.
Chewed the rubber handles off. I why that tool and that present in that situation, I have no idea. But things like that can happen too. You know, you've got presents under the tree already, and dogs have incredible noses, right? So they randomly smell out something that is of interest of them, and they decide to take matters into their own hands and rip up the presents. And then stockings and stocking stuffers and things like that. So just making sure that your dog's going to be safe, not ruining Christmas or the holidays for anybody where your dog's getting hurt, running away, dangerous situations, things like that.
Absolutely.
I think that's about all I've got.
That's the gist of it. It's we wanted to take time because we've been gone for a bit as well to answer as many questions as we can. Somebody said in here it was should try Platinum Bud. I mean, I have. It's Platinum-esque. And then someone else enjoying Angel's Envy Bourbon. That's fantastically delicious. Good choice. Melanie said here, scary hunting story. So FYI, while we're going through some of this stuff, start throwing comments in, questions in. We would love to answer them and go through
some of the
as
comments.
many of them, as many as we can this evening. So,
and we, like we've mentioned before, but if you're new to this live stream tonight, if you do want a question answered specifically, us to get to a super chat, we'll definitely give you priority, but we do try and get through as many questions as we can.
Scary hunting story. Sully fell into a 6-foot deep well. Don was so scared as he tried to find a way to pull him out. Finally checked out.
Oh my
Deer
gosh.
stand and found a strap to loop around his neck. Goodness gracious, that is scary.
That is really scary. I've seen a few stories similar to that, Melanie, on social media where, you know, dogs are out hunting with their owners on public land. They don't find their dog, see their dog, and then they eventually find them in a well or an abandoned well or something like that. And that is really scary.
Abandoned wells happen way more often than you'd like.
Yes. And so I'm glad that you guys found a strap. You know, that's a situation where you're like, what should have you done differently? You're going to carry a rope around in the field? You know, you get to the point where you're like, well, what do I need to absolutely have in the field with me? And you're going to eventually have this giant pack because you are trying to plan for every eventuality. And, you know, that's not always feasible. So I'm glad that you guys found a nearby deer stand that had a strap that you could use. Because definitely a scary situation, having to get back to the truck or find a check cord or a ratchet strap or anything like that was in your vehicle to get him out. And I'm glad you got him out, and I'm hoping he was completely safe, but very, very scary for sure.
This one says here, Harrison says, working with Jess at Alpine Visas in Washington to get a pup next season. She had great things to say about you guys in training program. Well, that's great to hear.
We definitely appreciate it.
If you are getting a new pup, cool thing is our new online training courses. I know there's probably a few people on here that have them. We sold a ton over the Black Friday weekend, which is awesome.
Yeah, we put them on sale.
And hoped that they're beneficial for the folks.
There was a question. Where's it at?
I skipped on accident, so
there we go. Brooklyn Baxa said, so what do you guys do when you have company over and the dogs are locked away and it's time to let them out to go potty? So great question. So typically, if we have time to know that company's coming over, prepare, that sort of thing, we'll preemptively let the dogs out prior to company coming over so that we can gauge, we've probably got 2-3 hours before we're going to absolutely have to let them out. And then typically, once company comes over and there's a little bit of time spent with, interacting, conversating, things like that, usually the excitement level comes down a little bit, the chaos level decreases, and you're able to say, okay, hey guys, my dogs need let out, and just give the company a heads up and be like, I'm going to let my dogs out. I'd appreciate if you don't pet them or interact with them until they get out and go potty. Then when they come back in, absolutely, if you want to pet them, you're welcome to. I just ask that they keep all 4 feet on the ground. They don't jump on you, things like that. I don't know if you want to call us the fun police, but we give very specific instructions to how we want our dogs interacted with, because our dogs don't need to act all crazy and get all worked up and be very naughty to get attention, because they meet a lot of people, from going to hunt tests and going to shows and having company over and kennel visits and things like that. And if that's how they think that they always have to act around new people, it's going to become a conditioned response, and that's absolutely not what I want. So we make sure that we give specific directions. Like, hey, I've even said stuff to people before where I'm like, hey, please don't pet my puppy until he's had a chance to go out and potty. I don't want him to have an accident while you're loving on him, and create, like an excited piddling problem. So I'm like, lay down the law.
You don't have any problem doing that.
Nah, not me. So that's how we would handle letting dogs out during company.
Let's see here.
Savannah Kolba outdoors on day 5 with our new Griffin puppy. Congratulations. Your videos have helped tremendously with his training and getting him started. Awesome. Well, if you didn't know, we do have an online step-by-step training course available, standingstonesupply.com/courses, I believe. And it literally walks you through step-by-step training from 8 weeks to a year. So if you need a more structured process of getting through things, definitely check that out. There's demo videos and things about it too that we can send your way. Jens Vindby, how long do your GSPs live? Mine is almost 13. Well, there's definitely a range and an average. I would say the average is probably 12 to 15 years. We have Grandpa Rex, who is 16. And his son Nix is going to be 12 in March, and he's guiding down in Texas this year. So still a lot of life and love and energy left in that boy. So it really depends. And obviously the better shape you keep them in, the better cardiovascular conditioning health, and, a good diet is going to be very beneficial. And then some form of supplementation for joints isn't a bad idea as they get older. We utilize Adequan for our older dogs just to keep their joints and everything lubed up as much as possible and really, cushioned and things like that. Don't put weird smirky faces on your face. Smirky faces.
There you go. Hey, I met Kat at Pheasant Fest in February and want to know if she remembers Dalton with Fillmore the Wime.
Oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot.
Let me just throw this out there. I think that, let's do a quick fact check on me here.
Fact check on you.
Yep. Hold on now.
This is where we need Charles, our...
Yeah, we do. Okay. So, with roughly 30,000 people rolling through that show, lots of them with dogs. I'm sorry, but...
If you sent me a picture, maybe I would put a face with a name. Your little thumbnail is too small.
Let's see. Make it bigger.
It's just blurry.
It looks like orange hats and maybe there's a dog in there.
Can't tell.
Can't tell.
The Klein handles have a strong scent, apparently. I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
Apparently. Scroll back up.
Oh, there you go.
Where'd you keep scrolling so far?
It's not intentional. I'm sorry.
Joe Kiefer, do you have any advice for teaching a 4-month-old puppy? Whoa.
Oh, I need to finish. I'm sorry. I definitely talked over you right there.
I think that might be a bingo card thing.
Definitely is. The thing that I want to say is, though we don't 100% explicitly remember meeting you, we do definitely enjoy meeting people and rarely forget faces. So if we got the opportunity to meet you again, we would definitely be like, oh,
hey,
yeah, we remember
before.
you. I'm sorry I don't remember your name. So
yes, do apologize. And typically if I've met you more than once, it sticks a little bit more. So From Joe, he said, do you have any advice for teaching a 4-month-old puppy whoa when they oversit, aka sit, anytime they come or go to place or come up to you at all during training sessions?
We have a video about this.
Couple of them. Definitely, we did one recently with Hex, and we did another one with a little puppy, Virgil, that we had in for a little extra time before he went home to his forever home. And we work on clicker training, whoa, just like we do clicker training any other behavior like sit, hear, or kennel. And sit can absolutely 100% become a default for a lot of things because it's really easy to teach. Typically, it's one of the first things we teach puppies. It's an easy behavior for them, and they've learned, hey, this is something I get rewarded for. So if I offer it more often, I'm going to get rewarded more often. And then we start asking them to sit for everything. Sit before they go in their crate, before they go outside, before they get fed, all the sits. And so we're actually over-conditioning sit. So it's important to teach whoa, teach the cue whoa, and once your puppy has a pretty good understanding of that, ask for whoas when you're going to do some of those behaviors. Instead of having them sit at the door, whoa at the door, then release them. Instead of having them sit before they get fed, whoa before they get fed, so that you can teach them through conditioning and generalizing that they can get rewarded for things other than sit. And so they'll start offering that as often as the sit, and then definitely distinguish between the cues, sit, and whoa. And that's really important that when you start doing that cue differentiation, that if you ask for a whoa and they offer a sit, you get them to move their feet and you do not reward them for the sit when you've asked for a whoa.
I just pinned that most recent
Hex video. Awesome.
Yep.
So check that video out, Joe. Kevin Martin, if you could only hunt one out-of-state state for the year, would you rather go to North Dakota or Montana?
Montana. Yep. And Kat says, I've never been to either of them, so.
I have 100% been to North Dakota and Montana and been hunting in both states. I literally lived in North Dakota forever.
So what's your answer then?
South Dakota.
That wasn't a question. That wasn't one of the answers.
I'd probably go to North Dakota.
Really?
Yeah. Guess we're going hunting by ourselves.
What are you going to do in North Dakota?
Hunt Huns, since you didn't take me this year.
Getting a little stabby in here, aren't we?
Salty over here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What's the next question?
Michelle says, do you guys have a video or can you go over what you carry in your vest for the dogs in the field? I know Ethan has done a truck video and you guys have done a first aid video. So this is
interesting. Yep.
This is a good question. We actually carry very minimal stuff in our vests, but one big difference for our hunting that we typically do is we are making fairly small pushes. You know.
Yeah.
We're not that far from the truck, and the truck has a fully stocked med kit with everything that we need.
Even when we went grouse hunting, which is typically bigger country walking, things like of that nature, probably the farthest that we made it straight line from the truck would have been like maybe 1.5 miles in there, which I mean is a good enough distance, but still, I don't know, turn around and walking 1 mile straight back isn't the end of the world. And it's probably, I can't even say that because I've had some pretty bad situations in the field, but things like T-shirts have, we had one dog go through a barbed wire fence and basically gut itself. And I took my shirt off basically and we tied it around the dog and carried it out of the field. Like that was one of the worst. Now there's lots and lots of things that can go wrong and can go bad.
Like we just talked about with Melanie's dog and getting in the well. Like if that had happened and we were out hunting, we would not have had anything with us to pull a dog out of a 6-foot hole well either.
No.
We would have had to go back to the truck. Or throw Ethan down there and hoist the dog up and then go back to the truck and get Ethan out later. That sort of thing.
Ouch.
I'm just teasing because I love you so much.
Uh-huh.
But I would definitely say one thing that we typically do have or should have is a knife or some form of like Leatherman style tool. So, especially if we were hunting in places.
You have to stab a raccoon that's coming at you.
I was thinking like a dog gets real tangled up in a barbed wire fence or something, and you need to cut barbed wire, or if you get into a trap. We have not been hunting anywhere where there's trapping that's been going on, but definitely being able to get your dog out of a trap with some type of pliers or a knife or something like that.
I believe they show for conibears that you can do that with zip tie. Like big, heavy-duty zip ties would be a good idea. And I added that to my med kit this year, so at least it will be within that mile, which is not a good thing. I mean, it's
This has got me thinking that we may put together a mini med kit for the vest and put something together for ourselves, and then have that as an offered option.
Yeah, let me do a little thinking.
Yeah, because that's really good information, and
Small
we
and
probably have
lightweight.
been lucky enough to.
Lucky.
I mean, to not run into any situations where we needed something in the field that we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So, good question. It got us thinking.
Speaking of luck,
What?
nothing.
Oh, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
My racing birds have been doing really well this year. Then there's a little bit of luck involved in that.
Okay. Pigeons. Matt, thank you for buying the course. Awesome content. Very excited to get started training. Well, I bet you are. Ooh, I just kicked the camera. Especially with a puppy coming soon. So we'll be seeing you soon as well.
I love it.
Yeah, definitely, Rebecca. Watching out for newly iced over ponds or waterways this time of year.
I've got
Bad
a
for pups to
story.
find out the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because
You were there with me, right? We hunted with the hug and haul guys, and the dogs all kept running all over the ice. It
wasn't that group. It was the group before, and that was when I fell through the ice.
Right.
Yep. I fell through the ice up to my chest. Scary. And then it made me really anxious because before I thought the ice was fine to be on because it had been really cold, but we'd had some warm enough temperatures that some of the ice got soft. And then I'd see a dog running full tilt across an iced over cattail slough. And I was like, let's not have them do that anymore because they fall through in the middle of that. Scary deal.
Absolutely, it would be.
So,
Kiss them goodbye, Smalls. I mean, I would try, but I don't know. I don't know if it was right out in the middle of a pond or something like that. It'd be a tough deal.
It would be. Cat's getting sassy. Cat was born sassy.
Why'd you scroll so far?
It jumped.
I know. It does that.
Yes, Kelly. The humans are harder to accept the explanations than the dog about people being upset that a dog has to be on a dog bed. Yeah, that type of thing happens. And that's why I'm like, yeah, we're the fun police. But our dogs don't think that we're mean people. They understand the rules, so it's fine.
Every dog on our property loves us.
Yeah. Yes, and 100%, Kaylin, people just don't understand the boundaries sometimes.
People are the problem. I mean,
They are.
That's it. People are the problem.
Yes, how are your dogs so well behaved? Like the reel that we did with, how addicting are those things? And then we had all the dogs sitting on dog beds and on the couch with me. And people are like, wow, how did you get that to happen? Those dogs are so well behaved. You must be great trainers. Well, yeah, because we have expectations and we train them. And
it took a firm, hey, you sit down.
Yeah, it wasn't like we got them all riled up and excited. And then we're like, now you need to sit here. It was like, this is a training obedience session. You need to sit here. We're taking a video, guys. But The dog that's in for training, the wine that's in for training, I don't believe it's short for Bluebell. I think that her name is just Bell Bell. Like, not two bells, just Bell. Silly.
Bell Bell.
She actually goes. Yeah, she actually goes home Friday. She'll have been here for her stay of training.
I ate so much for Thanksgiving. I need my own Coranda. Just a little nap.
Nappy nap.
Mm-hmm. We had puppies on Thanksgiving. I don't know if you saw that. And the fun litter of puppy thing, which was 4 days early, which they all turned out great, which is fine. But we weren't expecting it. We were in Kansas City eating turkey dinner with my family, and I said, well,
over
folks,
3 hours away, and
thanks for the dinner. We'll be seeing you later.
Sorry to dine and dash, but we got to get home and finish whelping a litter of puppies. So thank goodness we have such a great team. Jess did an amazing job in the beginning whelping process with this litter. But they have the most adorable puppy names because, of course, I could not resist a Thanksgiving themed litter. So we've got turkey and potato and gravy and pecan and pumpkin pie, and we have casserole. So pretty fun puppy names, if you ask me.
Casserole over stuffing?
I have stuffing too.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's her baby. I
love coming up with the names. Yeah. It's my jam. So.
I will know them before they're 8 weeks, but this is a good one. This is goes hand in hand with what's going on right now.
The KY Farm Boy.
KY.
Kentucky?
Probably.
Hello, guys. I have an 8-month-old GSP that loves to fetch but having trouble bringing birds to me. So, first of all, the retrieve is 2 parts. The desire to go out, pick something up, and carry it around in their mouth. The second part is the obedience to bring that bird back to you from a recall standpoint. Now, from a retrieving standpoint, if, they go out and they pick up the bird and then they're parading around, you just truly need to work on your obedience and recall standpoint side of things. If your dog is not really picking up the birds and carrying them around that well, or kind of picking at them or doing some naughty things with the retrieve, that's when you need to formalize and basically obedience train the retrieve. And we are literally just started filming the newest Trained Retrieve series.
Yep, it's going to be a fun one.
So if you have followed along with some of the previous Trained Retrieve videos, we've got the original, which literally is probably the original videos that were ever out on YouTube from Standing Stone. I think they were some of the very, well, from our channel. There. Yeah. Of Ethan, mostly. I was in a few of them doing some Trained Retrieves, and the information was good. The delivery was
awkward.
Awful. Awkward, you're right. Awkward. Yeah. That was the word I was going for.
Thank you for watching today's video about dog training.
It was good.
I'm here today.
With my mutton chops or sideburns that go down to my chin.
Liked them, though. I mean.
Yeah, back 15 years ago.
We were like, dang.
We were babies.
Mutton chops.
Anyway.
Baby face.
And then we have the other Trained Retrieve series that is more recent with Legend, that Ethan has a whole gamut of new facial hair features, mustaches and things like that. But that was also very good information, much better delivery and production and organization of it. But we decided to mush those two things together because the first series had a variety of dogs that we were training through that process. I see where
you're going. I was like, because I'm keeping the beard and the chops.
Yeah, this is the facial hair he's got this time, so normal-ish. But we're going to have, you guys have to watch these videos because there's going to be something very funny about them, and I want to know if you're going to catch it. So, anyway.
We've been planning this.
Yeah, we plan our videos out, planned out content. It's great. But we wanted to mush the two series together and have good videography, good audio, good delivery, good organization of the content, but also show a variety of dogs doing this process, because we talk about the trained retrieve being the hardest thing to train from a learning curve standpoint.
Definitely the largest learning curve.
Yeah, there's such a range in the way dogs react, how they go through the process, things like that. So we actually have done the mushing, and the video series is going to incorporate 5 dogs. We're going to have Trix, Shock, Clay, Legacy, and Doc in the video series, and showing how those 5 dogs go through the trained retrieve process. Those videos are going to be released on Tuesdays, trained retrieve Tuesdays. Kind of fun. But anyway, so if your dog isn't retrieving birds,
You're
trained
so
retrieve
clever.
may end up being what's needed. So long story short, I went through that whole process. So
We have a new retrieving video series coming out, and it's to help bridge that gap of it being the largest learning curve. Basically, every dog that I have ever done has been different. They follow the same steps, but they take a different path through those steps. So the
And
more that we
speed.
can show you, the more that we can show you how they do, like the first 3 videos are shot, I think. 3 videos. And in those, we get to show all the dogs are progressing well, but they all look different, every single one of them. So it falls right into what I just said. They're all different. But we have a couple that are pretty even keel, progressing well. Then we have, like, on the lower end of the spectrum, then we have the absolute opposite end of the spectrum with crazy, and it's comical and annoying all at the same time.
literally, I was sitting there on one of the cameras videoing, watching her part of the videos. I couldn't help but have a giant smile on my face.
She's got a big personality. Miss
She's a lot of
Shock.
dog.
Miss
Puppy shock. Puppy
Mhm.
shock. Yep. So you'll have to watch for her antics in this series. But and then these videos will also be incorporated as part of the trained retrieve course that I'm building out and working on. So just adding more content to that course, showing that variety and how things get worked through, and talking about that. So looks like a super chat got popped up here. How do I find
Click
that?
on it.
There it is. Melanie Carlson said, "Thank you for being so generous in sharing your expertise. Whenever I think of a question, I ask myself, what might Kat and Ethan say? I realize you have already answered via online content." Well, thank you so much for the super chat, Melanie. We really appreciate your support, and we're very happy to have you guys tuning in on the weekly when we do these live chats, and being supporters of us on Patreon. So, and coming out and doing live consults and things like that. It's
Absolutely.
really awesome. I don't know if you guys all know, we talk about Patreon a lot, but the people that are on Patreon really become more than just, a name in the computer somewhere. Like Miss Kelly, you got to meet her at that seminar out with Bob, and then she was generous enough to put together the first Bird Dog Bingo cards to get us rolling on that.
And sent the voice honey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The boys,
Yeah.
honey. I mean, just the relationships that we build with you guys are important to us. And we just want to tell you thank you guys for your support. And you aren't just another name in the computer somewhere. You guys really mean something to us. So
We love it. We wouldn't do this if we didn't. We
Absolutely.
wouldn't do it if we didn't.
was there any more? There was more questions, I know, but
Yeah.
I
It
don't
jumps
know if
around.
I
It gets
know. I
hard
don't know if
to-
I really should give you control of the mouse.
Na, 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 na. All right.
We were up a little bit further.
Yep.
We just got
back.
that.
I saw that. 8 months. Here it is.
Yep.
Okay.
So Nicholas Lindberg. So this is a good question because I want to talk about this too, because this is really interesting. Ethan and I have been talking about this a lot. User training for my new GSP, and the pup is doing great. Question: went to Montana in October. Birds got up 100 yards away. Would you recommend going in early September looking for more points? Thanks. So
Absolutely.
Definitely birds are going to get smarter, more wily later in the season. So earlier season birds are typically a little more dumb.
I'm assuming that you might be talking grouse too. It's an assumption. That stuff's good. Look at that.
The lotion?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Our hands are awful. First of all, it's
lotion.
dry as dry
Been
can be where
washing
we're at.
a lot,
and we
too.
wash our hands constantly because we're always going in and checking on puppies. Every time we go in and check on puppies, scrubbing in, washing in. We've got little boys. I've got a little boy that's got a cold and an ear infection, so I'm constantly washing my hands. I feel like literally my hands are turning into dried up paper bags. And so
sandpaper.
they're terrible and cracking and things like that. So I got bag balm, but not the oily, greasy, like looks like Vaseline bag balm. This is bag balm lotion, and it is seriously amazing. So if your guys' hands are really bad, not that we're sponsored by bag balm or anything like that, just it works. So anyway, back to the question about the pointing. So definitely early season birds are going to be a little easier to work on and get some optional points. The other thing that is something that gets overlooked, and I don't know where you're going to be at or what exactly you're hunting, but in South Dakota, it works out really well that sometimes later season, when you get some snow, birds are easier to point as well because they hold tighter.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to think about, which leads me to what I wanted to talk about. And this will be happening next year filming because we're kind of on the tail end of...
We might try and snatch one out of January, but even January is busy to put this together.
And so it's
going to be a big project, but it's going to be a cool project.
Yes. Sorry. And that's what we're, planning the content, things like that. We've already got the idea in place. Now it's a point of implementing it, but it's going to be a educational hunting series. And it's going to be not only how to plan a hunt based on...
It's all aspects here.
Yep,
folks.
all aspects. Because we realize that there's people that don't necessarily know where to find birds, how to find places that seem like a good option to even hunt. And then what should you even bring to the field for hunting? You should have a bird vest, you should have this, you should have that, your hunting license, things like that. Important things that should be already ready to go before you hit the field. And then how do you utilize your dogs when you go hunting? A lot of people get their first dog, or they get a dog and they're like, this has now made me go, I should use my dog for the purpose they were bred for. Now I'm going to take up hunting, but I truly don't know what I'm doing. And now I have this dog. How do I utilize them to hunt? And so we're going to incorporate that aspect of things as well into it and say, this is how we found this property. This is why we chose this property. This was the wind direction. This was what, was the crops in the area. This is how we hunted it. This is what happened. And these were the dogs we used, and this is how we hunted them. Because, we own a lot of dogs, but we don't just dump out 4, 5, 10 dogs at a time and hunt a field. We typically hunt 2 dogs at a time. When you're guiding, maybe 3. And then...
Strike that, reverse it. When we're hunting, I would run more than if I'm guiding because there's typically...
other people with dogs on the ground and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so we would talk about how we chose to hunt it and what dogs we used and how we used them for hunting and what they did and how we handled them so that it could help teach more people how to not only train their dogs, right? You guys are watching our videos to train your dog. Well, now, how do you hunt your dog? So it's going to be like the culmination of everything that we've been already putting together and then continuing to go with the flow of our purpose and our mission, which is helping people train their dogs, hunt their dogs, educating people from home, that sort of thing. So we're really excited about it.
We are. And
especially because it means I'm going to go hunting more, I think. I hope. I'm going to try.
Nah, it just means Dustin's going to go hunting with me more.
Hey, now.
So, no. I love your explanation, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and it seemed just a little scattered, and I'm not picking. But to be clear, we are creating videos showing how to hunt and how to work your dogs based on all conditions. The species, where we're at, what the field looks like, how we found the field, why we hunted it the way that we did based off of wind, cover, so on and so forth, so that you can ultimately learn how to hunt if you haven't done it or don't have experience in a new area or whatever. That is the goal. It's just putting together how-to videos on different areas. And I, because I am this kind of person, am going to show you the pin of the property that we hunted. This is it. Go do it. It's also one of those things that go look at it. And a lot of the different stuff that we hunt isn't going to be the same from year to year. So you could go out there the next year and the crops are different, or the things are different, or they grazed it, or, all of that stuff. But have a direction. And even if that just means getting your eyes on the property, or getting your eyes on the property on X and scouting that way. Like, oh, okay, this is the kind of stuff we need to find more of. And I literally hunted every grouse spot minus one day that way. We hunted a lot of sharp-tail spots, and we hunted every single one of them. Just pull up on Onyx. This is the direction we're going. I know that this general area, which is a big factor here, I know that this general area has grouse, okay? The grasslands of South Dakota. Pretty much anybody that's looked up grouse hunting has come across the grasslands, okay? But it's a big area. Where do you specifically go? That's the kind of things that we want to show you how to do as we're doing it. So it's going to be cool. I'm pumped.
Thanks for clarifying my excited rambling of what I knew was in here.
Yeah. Throw up in there throw up on our comment section about how dumb Ethan is, and you completely understood everything Kat said, and Ethan's explanation was stupid. But
was redundantly unnecessary.
There you go.
But you just left me hanging. Rude. Anyway, next question.
Throw the Snoop Dogg glasses on me. Yeah. Snoop Dogg.
I don't know what that means.
That's a meme.
Okay. North Star ES says, I'm looking at getting a new pup in the near future. Is it me, or is the dock tails getting longer than in the past? My girl's tail was around 6 inches or so. What is your preference and why for tail length? Okay. I don't know if I've seen necessarily a trend for longer, but I feel like docked tail length is very...
In GSPs?
What?
In GSPs, longer tail length? Yeah, absolutely. There's a trend. So that tails are longer. It's all a government conspiracy to push towards not docking tails at all. I'm just joking. Well, I feel like on average people are leaving tails a little bit longer.
Well, okay. So we've seen a variety of tail lengths.
Yeah, we do.
I think that like those little nubbin tails
suck. Yes,
but I think that a lot of those dogs have been docked shorter because of tail set. Dogs that don't have as high of and nice of a tail set and their tail just kind of comes out the back have been docked a little bit shorter because you've got a real long tail that is going to definitely look even sillier. But also, our preference is 40 to 50%.
Yeah, the GSPCA says 40%, and I don't want to be on the short side of that and be in the 30 category, so we stay just above that, trying not to go above 50%. And so
when we band our puppies' tails, because that's how we dock, you're banding a 3-day-old puppy's tail that's like literally like this long. They're like
a little longer than that. They average 3 to 3 1/4 inches.
And we used to literally measure them and mark them with a marker before we did it. And then look at it, evaluate it. And over the years and lots of puppy tails, we have gotten very good at eyeing that as well as feeling the natural taper of the tail. Those dogs' tails are very...
Surprising enough, they naturally taper at about 40%.
Yes. So when I feel that natural taper and where that band really like slips off the end of that chunk tail into that taper spot, that's usually exactly where it needs to be docked and banded. And so that's how we do our tail length preference.
I like it.
So watched your guys' video about the correct toys for a bird dog, and I have some saved that have no squeaks, but they have the crinkly, crunchy material in them. Is that okay? So I'm not sure if you're referring to like the newest video Ethan did on how to kill the squeaker and no tennis balls, but that's a really good video if you haven't watched it. So my caveat to Ethan's is shouldn't be a problem, but anything that is creating sloppy mouth is a problem. So if you have a rope toy that your dog is picking up and killing the heck out of and just shaking it like a rag doll and being really aggressive with, and you go, would that be bad if that was a bird? And you say to yourself, yes, probably time to take away the rope toy. If your dog is doing that with a stuffy, a crinkly toy, a whatever, and anything that you're like, wow, my dog's just literally laying there and destroying this and ripping out the stuffing, probably not great. That's time to just say, take away the fluffy, stuffy, whatever toys and be the fun police and just say, now we're going to only utilize retrieving toys for retrieving games. And you get a chew bone that's a pork chomp or a, Pet Stages wood chew or something like that for your chew time. That is an edible type of chew, and none of the other stuff that's going to create sloppy, naughty, bad retrieving stuff.
I like it. We're slow. There are a ton of questions this evening, y'all.
Man, guys, sorry.
It says, this one's important. Claire says, when are you putting out new pigeon content? I was scoping out your pigeon YouTubes and would love to see an update and what brand of food you prefer and feed pigeons.
Well, you're going to have to do a video because you have literally spent days of time on your loft.
It looks gorgeous, though. I mean,
it doesn't look bad. I'm not saying it looks bad, but dang, there has been a lot of time invested in that updated loft. So
you get a little adrenaline shot to the heart. Okay, so at the Hoosier, this is a $1 million race, folks. There were 5,000 pigeons that entered this race. 5,000, okay? I took 162nd and 179th place. Now, that's not first, and in the words of Ricky Bobby, you ain't first, you're last, and it's kind of how I feel. But at the same time, I got paid money for both of them, okay? Then we roll on through the old adventures here into the Breeders' Fall Classic. This is another one loft race. Breeders' Fall Classic. 5th place. A lot closer to first, a lot further from last, all right? That paid out even more money because they have what's called Ace Bird, and Ace Bird is the fastest average speed over the series. It's a big deal, okay? So you have consistency, not just one bird that did real well in one of the races, did really well over all of the races. 2nd place out by less than 1 minute. So that's really, really close. When you're talking about the final race being 355 miles or something like that. So you have included in this, a 125, a 225, a 275, and a 325. So all of those minutes and minutes and minutes of flying time, and that 1 minute separated these two birds, and I took 5th in the final race. That paid out money. Another shot to the heart, right? So then we roll into the Southern Belle, 12th place overall. Again, closer to first, only just a few minutes out. Then the next roll into the Longhorn, and I took 51st. Now, the crazy thing about this, a lot of birds came in together. So it's typically a sign of a good trainer. The birds are all doing really well, and he's got good birds, but he did a good job training. The 51st, so 51 birds all clocked, and I was a minute and 42 seconds out from first place. So 50 birds clocked, that's a little over 2 seconds between each of the birds rolling through. All of that being said, doing really well, considering this is the second year I've ever raced pigeons. So I've actually placed in the very top tier of every race. And you're talking lots of birds that I've beat. Let's go with that. Yeah. The pigeons deserved an upgrade to the loft.
So, probably should do a video update of that. Okay, next question.
Come on.
I love your pigeons so much. Kirsten Jensen said, is it ever too late or too soon to have a bird intro for a puppy? So, yes and no and yes and no. So, is it ever too late? I mean, no. You could absolutely do a bird intro with a 10-year-old dog if you wanted to. Definitely when you have more baggage or behaviors to uncondition, it's going to be more difficult. So if you've got a dog that has never seen a bird in its life and it's 10 years old, that's going to definitely affect their response to the bird one way or the other. But is it ever too soon? Also, yes and no. I mean, we've introduced puppies at 8 weeks old to birds. Could you do it sooner? No, probably not. I mean, the pigeons are even the same size as the puppies basically at 8 weeks, as well as their eyes aren't completely developed even to follow and track and focus on that bird that's moving and things like that. So, I mean, much earlier than 8 weeks is probably not gonna work out well for anything, as well as you don't want to scare your puppy that's smaller than the pigeon at that point. So most people aren't going to have a puppy younger than 8 weeks. So I would say no, there's not really too early of an age, but taking that with the other information I said into consideration. The ideal time would be close to 16, 15 weeks old, just because your puppy has some basic obedience under their belt, so they're not going to just grab that pigeon and see you later with it, Mom. They're a little more developed, socialized, mature, all the things, can follow and track that bird a lot better with their eyes, as well as they're still really in that young, impressionable stage, so it's a great time to introduce new things. And if you're following our course, 15 weeks is when I say to do it, so do it then. We just did it with Hex. His video will be coming out soon. What?
I love you.
I love you too.
We're out of time.
5 more minutes, Dad.
No.
Yes.
One more question.
I don't like having...
That one was an interesting one. Go down.
Just a quick... This is just a quick answer to a previous thing. D. Arnold said, the new video, will it address dogs at different ages? My GSP is around 4. It will. We don't have any 4-year-old dogs doing the Trained Retrieve series, but Trix is over 2, and the youngest dogs doing it are just 1 year old. So there's an age range, and then we have a 1.5-year-old, which is Shock. So a couple 1-year-olds, and then a 1.5-year-old, and then a 2-year-old. So you will see some variety in mental maturity. We're already seeing that between Trix and the puppies. So you'll be able to definitely see that showing up in the series. Just recently bought and used Onyx after listening to our podcast on Onyx. It's a game changer. Freaking amazing. Awesome. Thanks. What? Ethan's explanation was redundantly unnecessarily. Ha! I knew it. So Kaylin said, Ethan and all of Canada no vets will crop or dock. All the show rings now have full-length tails and ears. Friends got a Boucheron from Quebec and no crop. He's a funny-looking Doberman cross now. And then Denise Steele said, in Europe, it's not allowed to dock, I don't think, anymore. So, yeah. So docking gets a bad rap, right? Like, people are very anti-docking in some circles. But truly, not only is it a breed standard for the short hairs, but happy tail is a real thing that happens to dogs, especially energetic, affectionate dogs that show a lot of that energy and affection and emotion through their tail. And then that wax on everything that has a sharp object, edge of a table, edge of a door frame, things like that, and then it splits open, especially on these breeds that have thinner coated tails. And then it's like a murder scene and blood is everywhere. Not only that, that constant repetitive damage to the tail can cause nerve damage and infection and lead to having to have the tail amputated. And having a tail amputated at a year old, 2 years old, 5 years old is way baby different than docking a little puppy's tail at 3 days old.
Yeah. So the other side of it is, if you look up the countries that don't actually allow docking, most of them, not all, but most of them have exceptions for working dogs. So, what?
Nothing.
So most of them have exceptions for working dogs, and it's not all, but ultimately it comes down to anybody that's ever been around an English pointer, the crack and tail is always bleeding. They hit it on everything, and they break them open. So it depends a little bit on the dog, their personality, their type of tail, their coat, which English pointers have very little protection from a hair standpoint. Short hairs are typically better, not always, but typically better. And all in all, until they outlawed in the United States, we'll dock tails. So,
lots of pigeon comments.
oh yeah, read them out. Come on now, and then we'll get
That's
out of here.
awesome about the pigeon race. Congrats. I love the pigeons. I want to race sometime. Can't seem to get it together though. Laugh out loud.
Tina, I will help you. You let me know, and I will help you.
Ethan sounds like the pigeons are paying for themselves. Not even close, Kelly. But at least he's been paid out money now. So he's still in the... Is the saying still in the black mean you still haven't made any money?
No.
Still in the red?
That would be not made any money yet.
Still in the hole. You have not you have not broke even on your expenses.
No, but I'm not that far in the hole. I sold a bunch of pigeons.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Kat looks bored to death. Kelly, do you know how many times I've heard these stories already? I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Wah, 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 wah. But I love you, and I support your pigeons because who cares for your pigeons when you're gone?
You.
And who cares for them very, very well and says, honey, I think your pigeons might be a little hungrier than you think they are because the food quantity ration that you've given them, they attack me when I come in the loft and I feed them and like literally they're in the thing before I can get the lid on. Like they might need more food. So I show like attention to detail and concern.
You're great, baby. I love you.
Anyway, I love the pigeon talk. I just bought Homer brought home 2 racers myself, geeking out on pigeons lately. Well, you and this guy would get along great.
Let me know. Let me know.
My wife doesn't like pigeons either. Yeah, couldn't move his tail for 3 days after whacking it on furniture. Yeah, blood eating it. Kaylin said, wait till the other pigeon breeders find out he shoots the other pigeons for the dogs.
Most of them know that. They don't care about calming pigeons or feral pigeons like we use them, and so.
See, we're at the end.
Yes.
Look, I said 5 more minutes and we got to everything.
We did in 10 minutes. I love it.
It was like 5.
It was. Absolutely. I think we're there, though, folks. We love you. We enjoy doing this as often as we can on Wednesdays, and unless we are out of town.
Which we will be next week, so no live chat next week, guys.
No live chat next week, but will we be back the week after that?
Yes, we should be. That's right before vacation, so yep. The
14th. We will see you all here, hopefully all of y'all, the 14th of December.
Yep.
And
no bingos though.
No one.
Anybody got
no
a
one
bingo?
shouted bingo. Ooh, ouch! There's somebody that's close.
I definitely did that.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that. Who's this? If that's our first person, they would. No.
Very, very close.
No.
I'm looking. Ooh. We can do it.
But
So-
we did say that.
We did, but we'll say it again just because they're not obviously listening well enough. Last but not least, folks, kind of a fun thing. December 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Traveling the 6th. Hunting 7, 8, 9. We'll be headed back to South Dakota to hunt.
I get to go this
pheasants.
time.
Yep.
Pheasant hunting.
Pheasant
My
hunting for
favorite.
a few days.
I know that Ethan was asked, if you'd go to North Dakota or you'd go to Montana, and Kat was like, South Dakota, because I really like hunting pheasants in South Dakota.
It's fun.
It is really fun. That's why I'm like, sign me up, and we're going next week.
I like it. Now, somebody should have a bingo. I'm waiting to see who says bingo on the thing because somebody just checked the box and has a bingo.
Got your callers. Absolutely love them.
There it is.
Thank you so much for your business. We really appreciate it. So
I think it's just because you pay attention better than everyone else. Let's see here.
Kelly, I have a really good friend like you
39C4.
that is insanely observant. And luckily he doesn't listen to our live streams. Otherwise he'd have bingos all the time because he is crazy observant.
Mm-hmm. Nate Roberts,
Whoop,
bingo. Send us a message there on Patreon if you're. I've got your email address. Just shoot me a message as a reminder, and then I will send you the digital code
For the gift card.
A gift card, absolutely.
Thanks, guys, for watching tonight. We will be back. Makes
Yes,
sense.
Absolutely. Folks, I'm the guy with the pink gun.
I'm Kat, the dog trainer.
We'll see you in the next video.